Hey everybody, Arturo Johnson here, and in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about how to build a sales team that produces 300K on autopilot. And so let's go ahead and jump right in. I've been growing my sales team for the past 2 years, and here's what I've learned. So I've hired a ton of people and fired a ton of people, and here is what I have learned to now have a sales team that closes over 300K of revenue every single month with only 5 reps. And so let's just take a look, because I know a lot of people kind of talk a good game, but they really don't show it. And so you can see here that these are our 5 reps here. And 2 of these guys just started within just a few weeks. And you can see the revenue that these guys have already started to generate, as well as our leaderboard here. So right now, as it stands, we're at 287.8. And I've only spent about 23 grand on ads. And so I run Facebook ads to generate leads and qualified appointments. And you can see here that this row is important here, that my return on revenue, my ROI, is 1,000%. And so this is why you want to listen to me when it comes to learning how to build a sales team. So some common misconceptions. Number one, especially in the life insurance industry, is that you want to post on Indeed. Well, a lot of people do not know that there's a loophole for unemployment. So in order to be eligible for unemployment, you must apply for 3 jobs a week, I believe. And so with that being the case, a lot of people go to job fairs and apply to things online with no intention of actually signing up, but that's just so that they can keep their unemployment. So what does that mean? That means that when you post something online, you're going to receive a lot of responses for people who just really aren't serious about looking for work. They're looking for an opportunity to kind of grow themselves. And so you're just going to be going through a lot of work trying to hire people that don't have work ethic. They don't really care too much, and they aren't looking to help you with your vision. So the next misconception is hiring a recruiter. So one thing that we learned is that most people interview very well. They've practiced it a bunch. They've been on a ton of interviews, and they just talk a good game, and they don't really have a good work ethic. And so you'll be wowed and amazed in the interview process, but when the rubber meets the road, and then when it comes down time to they get that first no, that first sign of rejection, they just disappear. They stop showing up to the Zoom calls. They stop showing up to the meetings. They stop responding to your texts. And then you run into them at Panera or at Walmart or something, and you're just trying to say, hey, well, I've been reaching out to you. And that's how you kind of catch up with people. And then the last one is running ads. So what happens when you run ads is you end up getting a bunch of dreamers, and a lot of people that, want to make a lot of money, but they don't want to do any work. And so now more than ever, right, you would think with so many opportunities for jobs, but people just don't want to work. They want to make a lot of money and they don't want to do anything. And there's a saying that a lot of people want to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die, right? Everybody wants to make $1 million, but nobody wants to put in the work. Nobody wants to get up at 5 a.m. every single day and work 6 days a week from 5 a.m. till 9 p.m., right? No social media, no drinking, no going out, working on holidays. Nobody wants to do that. So when you run ads, you end up sharing your message and your opportunity with a lot of people. But what happens is people are just dreaming and they don't really want to put in the work. So what I found that just absolutely just hits a home run every single time is just having a phenomenal hiring process. And when I talk to a lot of agents and we kind of discuss things, they're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing, and they're getting the same results. And we all know how this goes, right? You recruit any and everybody at the mall, at church, posting on Facebook about how much money you're making, on TikTok, right? And what happens? You attract people that want to join for all the wrong reasons. And so what I learned is that you end up having 150 agents, but only like 20 of them are writing, right? And so now you're babysitting. And now in doing that, your production starts to dip, right? And now you're a glorified babysitter. And now you have a job of pumping people up every single Monday, making sure they show up to the calls, when in actuality, they should be reaching out to you saying, hey, what can I do to get better? And with this hiring process, this is how you're going to attract people that want to get better, and they'll be reaching out to you instead of the other way around, right? So the first thing we want to do is take them through a process. So what we do is the very first thing we do is we have everyone take an assessment, personality test, DISC assessment, Myers-Briggs test, right? Who are they, right? And a lot of times the first thing is that this is an epiphany for the person taking the test. And it's kind of a culture shock. But then you get to see how this person thinks, and it kind of, it's not like 100% accurate, but it just gives you a clear picture of who you're working with. And in sales, you really want, extroverted people, ESTJ, ENTJ, ENFJ, stuff like that. And for the DISC, you want a high D and high I. You want dominant people with the high influence. Now, introverted people can do it. Myself, Earl, and then Mitchell, some people on our team, they're introverted and they can do it, but we just have a different style. But for the most part, you want extroverted people doing this process. And a lot of people don't factor this in. And so I want to break this down just a little bit deeper. So for example, there's an analogy of you have an introverted person and an extroverted person. Now, the introverted person is going through the entire day trying to make sure that all of their energy is accounted in marbles, that at the end of the day, they still have a few marbles left for themselves at the end of the day. As in an extroverted person, right, they're trying to go out and give away all the marbles that they have and then collect new ones. And so extroverted people love engaging. They love exchanging energy. They love conversating. They love talking to people. They have no problem striking up a conversation with a stranger. And we just know that with introverted people, that's something that kind of takes the energy out of them. So definitely want to factor that in, because if you're trying to do something that's not natural, then you're going to have a little bit of success now, then you're going to be drained, and then it's going to go down, and you're going to have this up and down thing. As for people who are extroverted, like, my general manager, Jack, he gets motivated. He gets energized by having meetings and talking to people all day. So you want to definitely make sure that you have those people in place in the right positions. So then the first thing we do after they take the assessment and we look over that, we have a 15-minute chat, which we call our IT meeting. Now, this is just an interview to see if they have it, right? If they have the intangibles. Do you like this person? Would you spend 4 hours on a flight from here to LA, or 6 hours, or however long it is, talking to this person? Could you see them improving the team? Would they fit in? So if they don't fit that criteria and they fail that meeting, we just say, thanks, hey, we're just going to move on. We're going in a different direction. Now, if they do, then the next thing is we want to have a 45-minute longer interview where we kind of go into depth, the background, and even do a little bit of role playing on that call. And a lot of times we do want to hit them with a little bit of rejection, just saying, oh, well, you don't really sound like an A player to me. We're looking for A players, and I'm just not seeing it, right? And that's kind of a shock to some people. But what really happens is you just want to see how they handle rejection and how they're going to sell themselves and how they're going to fight back. Because if they can't do that on this one-on-one call with you, then they're definitely not going to be able to do it on sales calls after they've gotten 6 no's and they've got 7 calls left for the day. So then after that role play, then we'll have a decision call meeting with the team. And then from there, we'll make a decision, and then we'll make an offer. And then and only then will we hire someone. So we take people through a full-blown process to make sure that we're hiring the top people. And that is exactly why we're able to do these kind of numbers, right? And do them with just a small amount of people and 5 sales reps. And so this is very important. So the next thing that you need to know, and this is what I found that really hits a home run every single time, is everyone that you need is in your network. and the best people will come from within 1 degree of separation of you. And so everyone that we found, the first thing that we did, well, the first principle for myself is my goal was just to get one A player. And then once I did that, that removed some of the pressure. I had someone else to take on some calls that could produce at a clip. So maybe it was an 80-20 where they were taking 80% of the calls, and then I was only taking 20% of them. And then once they started to make some money, then they would start sharing their excitement and enthusiasm about the process that they're going through, the money they're making, the experience that they're having, and the lives that they're changing. And then from there, that would attract the next person, right? Now, going through this process, it is a long process, right? So we have probably been through 20 to 30 people, and now we only have 5. And so this has been over 2 years. So whenever you want to start out, trying to build a team, you want to set the right expectations, because even if you get someone that's good, it's going to take them about 3 to 6 months to really hit their stride. And then you're going to have to do that over and over again. And so, again, just going back to my point that everybody is in your network and they're within that 1 degree of separation. So social posts, posting in groups, asking people on your team if they know anybody that's in sales, those are going to be the best and most quality people. And for 2 reasons. One, they're not going to come in and make a bad name for the person that's referred them, but then they also have this kind of unspoken commitment to not letting that person down that gave them the opportunity. So this is very, very powerful. And then the last thing is you want to hire slow and fire fast. And I had to learn this one the hard way, because we hired so many people and we kept them around just because we needed the bodies, because we didn't want to have to go back and get on the phones. And that's no way to operate your business, because that's a scarcity mindset. And I had to learn that. And once I decided, if I got back on the phones, I would probably close at a 30 to 50% higher rate. One, I would get to keep all of the profits myself. And then I would never have to really worry about any extra chargebacks or refunds and stuff like that. So when you look at it from that perspective, then you're thinking about this in an abundant state, and you never want to keep people on just because it's a warm body around, right? Because that will affect your culture. And so in saying that, you want to give people due diligence to have success, but you also want to believe them the first time. So if they're having signs of, not being a team player, or being negative, or complaining, or just not being good, the moment that you kind of see those signs, you need to just kind of cut the ties. And this is 2 things. One, it removes the constraint from you, your mental bandwidth, and worrying about these things, but it also allows them to pursue another opportunity as soon as possible, because they also need to make money as well. And so the last point that I think is probably the most important is assessing who it is, right? Whenever you hire someone. And there's a rule of thumb is that you can't turn a 4 into a 10, but you can turn a 7 into a 10. So in closing this, what I'd like you guys to do is to just assess the people on your team one by one. And if they're 4 or less, then it's time to make a decision and kind of rip the Band-Aid off. So I'm giving you permission to go ahead and let somebody go, because I know sometimes that's the only thing we need to hear as the CEO of our business is like, hey, man, you've been thinking about it. You've had all the signs. Just rip the Band-Aid off, right? That way you can spend the rest of your time focusing on those 7s and getting those to 10. And that's how you can get to building a sales team that does $300K per month on autopilot. So I hope this video was helpful. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.